Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Lauren and welcome to my top 10 books of the year 2022. Let's get into it. Okay, so I read 140 books this year. I gave 8 5 stars. Don't drag me for it, please. So I'm gonna get into my top 10. I feel like this wasn't too hard. I feel like I knew what I wanted to rate, like top 10. So I'm pretty happy with what I picked. So I also did TikTok on it. So if you want to check my TikTok out, I'll link it below. But let's get into the books. These are in order. So the first one, which is number 10, is 'Tis the Season for Revenge. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It is Legally Blonde vibes. It's like a revenge plot because Abby's boyfriend breaks up with her the night of Halloween, and she's like expecting to go to this Halloween party. He's like, oh, you're not serious enough. So he breaks up with her, blah, 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 blah. And then she ends up going on a date with her boss and like sleeping with his boss to try and get to this Christmas party that she's never been invited to after 4 years. The spice is like 10 out of 10. So good. Like, it's not super, super crazy. Like, it's probably still like a 2 on the spice scale because it's pretty like standard. There's a little bit of different usage holes used, I guess. And like, you know, he's like a pleasure dom, like he loves like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, definitely very spicy, but like not crazy spice. It was good spice. Legally Blonde is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm also a law student, if you don't know that. But yeah, it was, for me, it was everything and more. I loved it. Damien is like the perfect man. He's also like, I think their age gap was like 16 years or something like that. Like, it's quite a large age gap. Maybe it's 14 and 12. I don't know, it's in the teens somewhere. I think she's like 20 something and he's in his 40s. So I think that's what it was. I really don't remember now, but it was a good read. My first Morgan Elizabeth, really enjoyed it. So it was obviously a little bit cringy, a little bit, you know, whatever, but like such a good book. And like Damien is like the ultimate feminist, male feminist. Damien really helps Abby find her self-worth again after being with a really toxic ex. She does it herself at the end of the day, but he really just highlights the best bits about her to her. And she just needed that encouragement to get there herself, but so good. And like, they're a group of 3 girlfriends and it is perfect. I love it so much. But yeah, 5-star book. That's number 10. Number 9 is Malibu Rising. When I read this, I thought this was a 4-star, but I just kept thinking about it for days and days on end. And I just loved it. It is definitely a 5-star book and it deserves a spot in my top 10 because I just adored this book. It's about the Reaver children, and every year Nina Reaver throws a party, and this year things get a little bit out of hand, and this is set in the 80s. Things get out of hand. There's like celebrities mentioned, and yeah, it's pretty much told over the space of 24 hours, and you also get flashbacks to like them as a child. So there's obviously massive trigger warnings for like drug abuse, death, suicide, alcohol abuse, neglectful parents. There's a lot of triggers in this. But yeah, the siblings are absolutely amazing. I love them all. Like, it also ended in a very interesting way. They have like a fish and chip shop and like a seafoods thing, and I've made the tartar sauce that they use in this. When I tell you it's good, it's good. I'm pretty sure you can get the recipe on Taylor Jenkins Reid's Instagram. I think pretty sure that's where it is, and that's where I had it. But I haven't made it in a while, so maybe I should do that soon now that it's gotten warm. Number 8 is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I also read People We've Been on Vacation this year, and that just doesn't compare. There was something that happens in it that I just was like, I'm just like, I don't get it. This was amazing. Nora and Charlie are the perfect rivals to lovers, and grumpiness ending is a little bit open-ended. I would have loved to see a little bit more of an epilogue, but I guess that's just Emily Henry. But this book just felt like a warm hug from a nostalgic, perfect Hallmark movie. That's what it felt like to me. That's what I felt like I was reading. It was everything and more. I loved it. The small town setting, because I really got into small town romance this year, was perfect for me too. I think that's sort of the theme of the books that I love this year, like a lot of small towns. And the only issue that I have was probably Nora's sister being a little bit of a pain towards the end, but I loved it. It was hilarious. I laughed out loud at so many points, but I love Emily Henry's writing, and maybe not everyone does, but I do. Number 7 is Sinner by Sierra Simone. I adored that book. I stayed up so late trying to finish that book, and I was just hooked. I loved watching two people find their place in religion and like trying to find them the place together, trying to find themselves, how to be together, and also like have religion in their lives. Like it's everything and more. Sean Bell, he's the ultimate book boyfriend, or one of the ultimate book boyfriends. I think what I love about the series is the whole discussion of religion and like how you can still have religion in your life, and like where you place it in your life, and how to like the conflict you face by like, I don't like religion, I do like religion, I don't know where to put it. Like it's quite a complex scenario, and I think it's just really beautiful. It's the only way I can describe it. It was just, yeah, it made a lot of sense to me, and how I place religion in my life, and how Sean found his way back to religion. It is a massive age gap in this book as well. It is brother's best friend trope. Yeah, it's really good. Technically, it's like, because it's told from Sean's point of view, it's technically best friend's little sister, because that's how it's told, but that's okay. I love it. Also an interracial couple. Number 6 is Nice Guys Don't Win by Macaulay Smelter. Macaulay Smelter rocked my world this year. That was utterly beautiful, that book. It's not very long. There's no third act conflict. That was a large reason as to why I loved it. They're also an interracial couple. It's like forced proximity and forbidden romance, because she's the coach's daughter, and they end up having to live together after Cole's best friend Teddy has to move out and go back to the dorms, and he puts Zoe in there, and it was chaos. Teddy is hilarious. I adore Teddy. He is so funny. I didn't love his book as much, but I adore Teddy. Watching Zoe reconnect with her father was also fantastic. It was beautiful, and like connecting with her siblings and her new stepmom, and like recovering from the loss of her mum was amazing. I could read another book about them. Like if they can get their own book, I would read it again, because Cole and Zoe and their life, perfect. Loved that one. Number 5 was Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan also rocked my world this year. She had a number of 5 stars, and I was trying to not have multiple of the same author. I did tune a little bit. There is one double up, but I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. But this one, this was my favorite, I think, of all the books I read by her this year. August is another perfect book boyfriend. The way he treats Iris is another level of amazing. I can't even explain. This is tragically beautiful is the way I would describe it. There is domestic violence. There is some really triggering things that happen. Please, please, please be careful going into this book, because it is a very, very tough read. There are some really graphic scenes. I really don't even know how to explain it. It is quite full on. And, you know, how she gets pregnant, like, so it's also a single parent. How she gets pregnant is extremely disgusting. It is a hard read. So please, 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 please be careful going into this, but it is beautiful. And the ending was everything and so much more. It is also, the ending is quite full on too. Ripped my soul, put it back together. I was just floored by this book. I adored it. Number 4, another author that rocked my world this year, and I started reading this year, was Sophie Lark. And number 4 is Savage Lover from the Birthright series. I love this. Camille and Nero are like soulmates to me, the perfect soulmates. They are the ultimate couple. They belong together more than any other couple I've ever read. I am obsessed. Like they're like, when I think of them, I think of like MGK and Megan Fox, how they say they're twin flames and all that kind of stuff. I love them. Their love of cars and everything. And the plot was so intriguing. Like it had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I loved the plot. The heist, it wasn't super like traditional mafia. There is mafia elements, but it wasn't super traditional like mafia, I would say. Camille is the ultimate big sister looking after her little brother. That's why she gets into trouble in the first place, and how the plot unfolds. I don't want to give too much away, because it is very, very good. And the spice is fantastic. I have the illustrated editions, and like even there's some like really not safe for work photos. I just want to find one. This is like a pretty tame one, but there are some really graphic photos in this. Like, yeah, this is what's involved, and I loved this. Love Sophie Lark, but this one was my favorite of her books this year. Number 3 was The Birthday List by Devney Perry. Oh my God, again, Devney Perry also rocked my world this year. I can't wait to get to more of her books this 2023. The Birthday List just hit me upside down with a shovel and just made me fall in love. It was the first book I read by her and I was enamored by this book. It is like a second chance at love story. Poppy loses her husband, he gets brutally murdered, and she's setting out to complete his like birthday bucket list, and she falls in love as well at the same time, and Cole is like helping her heal and helping her fall in love and helping her complete the list. And it was just like, I was like goo goo gaga for Cole because he's such like the perfect man. He's a policeman. He's just, yeah. And they keep like running into each other because like they cross over on the path of like her completing these challenges. And like I get giddy thinking about this book. Like my cheeks hurt from smiling so much because that's how much I loved this book. It was everything and more. The ending was amazing. The epilogue was amazing. And then the second book in the series was just as good too. But The Birthday List stood out for me on another level. I adored it. Number 2 goes to Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I would love to say I'm more basic, but I am. This is probably not one of the most popular favorites by Colleen Hoover. Reminders of Him is very close to Heartbones, but Heartbones just made me feel something and like took me back to a time when I was young, 18, going to the beach, and just those feelings of when you're young. That's what it took me back to. And the mystery element was so intriguing. And yeah, again, a lot of trigger warnings to like drug use, parental overdose. You get blindsided by the twist. I was not expecting that at all. But like also beautiful found family. Bea goes to live with her estranged father and he has a new wife, and she also now has a stepsister, and like having the two sisters getting along and like learning to be sisters was amazingly beautiful. It was just, I can't even explain. I just felt like so much in this book. It was one of my favorites. I loved it. I think I'm done with Colleen Hoover now. Like I've read enough of her books and I think I'm just done. I think Heartbones for me was another top tier. It was one of those books that kept me up all night trying to like finish it. So my top 4-ish are ones that I stayed up late reading because I loved them so much. And then my number 1, this is my double up with my author, but I couldn't just pick one of her books because she rocked my world this year, like I said. But it is The Confidence of Wildflowers by Macaulay S. Meltzer. This duet really solidified what I like in books and really like changed my taste. Like I really love small town romance, really enjoy age gap, I really enjoy single parent. This had so many like small town tropes and it was just perfect. It is gut wrenching. It rips your soul out in this book and then puts it back together even better at the end of this. By the end of this book, it was amazing. Trigger warnings, a lot of trigger warnings. There's like cheating, there is parental sexual assault, there is death, cancer, there is some triggering deaths in this book as well. So if you are triggered by death and like certain kinds of death, please read into those triggers. It is a massive spoiler. It happens in the last like 10% of the book. Salem and Thea are the perfect couple, perfect like age gap couple. It is quite a large age gap. She is 19 when they start dating and he's like 36. So can be a little bit jarring for some people. I didn't think I would like it that much, but I really did. Salem is like recovering from like a lot of trauma that happened with her dad, who is now dead. So she's like struggling with the trauma that happened from that book, from him, and she just falls in love with this grumpy older man, and yeah, it is really good. Perfect like small town romance. There's quirky neighbors. Salem makes candles and her favorite flowers are peonies and my favorite flowers are peonies, and she has a black cat called Binks and I have a black cat, and I just love this book so much. I can't even explain it. But yeah, that is my top 10 books of the year. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you pick up some of these reads if you haven't and love them as much as I do. And if you don't, that's okay. We don't all have to like the same books, but these books were just standouts to me and I just love them so much. I'm very curious to see what my top 10 will be this year, 2023, because I have really sort of know what I like now. I wonder if they can top these for me, but I'm very keen. My goal this year is to read 150 books. So that's 10 more than last year. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.